Imagine a city within a city. Picture 70,000 people crammed into just 1 square kilometer, living amidst, well, mountains of waste, where the air inside your home feels thick, stagnant, and getting clean water is a daily, constant struggle. This isn't some made up story, some dystopian future. This is Tondo, Manila. But, and this is important, it's also a place that just pulses with this incredible, undeniable resilience. Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're plunging into Tondo, Manila's largest, most densely populated district. It's home to over 631,000 people, many living in these vast, sprawling, informal settlements. It really embodies profound struggle, yes, but also incredibly inspiring fight for a better future. Our mission for this deep dive, to really pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge from our sources. We want to understand Tondo's huge challenges, the amazing spirit of its people, and those grassroots initiatives that are sparking real hope. Think of this as your shortcut to understanding how communities fight for change against just immense odds. Now, before we really unpack this incredible story, just a quick word to you, our fantastic listener. If you're enjoying these deep dives, if you want more insights like this one, please make sure to visit Mind Expansion Daily. It's really your go-to place for great information that keeps you well informed. And while you're there, please do hit that like button and subscribe to Mind Expansion Daily. It genuinely helps us bring you more content like this. Oh, and if you feel like, maybe buying us a coffee to fuel these deep dives, the link is right there in the description. As we explore Tonando today, we genuinely love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree or disagree with our summary of this, well, very complex topic? Go on, leave a comment below. And since our goal is to increase our reach worldwide, tell us where you are listening from. We can't wait to see our global community grow.
Yeah, and what's so fascinating here, and maybe striking, is that paradox you mentioned. On the one hand, yes, you see the crushing realities, overcrowded shacks, scarce clean water, limited healthcare, it's all there. But then right beneath that surface of hardship, there's this powerful, dynamic fight for change. You see it so clearly in things like the community gardens, these vital NGO-driven housing projects. That's the story we really want to unravel today.
Okay, so let's start by really painting a picture of the sheer scale of the challenges in Tondo. The numbers are almost, well, hard to comprehend. Tondo's informal settlements, they house an estimated 35% of Manila's, 4 million slum dwellers?
That's right, a huge proportion.
But it gets even starker when you drill down into specific areas like Barangay 105. It's known locally, kind of grimly, as Happy Land. Here you find 70,000 people crammed into just 1 square kilometer. 70,000.
It's staggering density.
And imagine this, 12,000 of those residents live, quite literally, surrounded by garbage dumps, their homes, often just cobbled together from corrugated iron, bits of wood, and crucially, 60% lack proper ventilation.
60%. Think about the air quality inside those homes.
Makes basic comfort, basic health, a constant daily battle.
And connecting this to the bigger picture, that lack of basic services is just a critical piece of the puzzle. It makes everything else worse. Only 40% of households in Tondo actually have access to piped water. Only 40.
Wow.
And even more, 75% lack adequate sanitation facilities.
75%.
Yeah. And this isn't just, an inconvenience. It's a full-blown public health crisis. We're talking about a staggering 1.5 million cases of waterborne diseases like diarrhea every single year.
1.5 million annually.
From preventable causes.
Yeah.
It's a direct tragic consequence of this service deficit.
And beyond just the lack of services, there's this long shadow of poverty. It really traps residents in a relentless cycle. Half of Tondo's population, 50%, earns just $2 to $4 a day.
Barely scraping above the official poverty line.
Yeah, and these incomes often come from informal jobs, right? Like scavenging, driving tricycles, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Precarious work.
But what makes it even harder is the stigma. There's this pervasive stigma attached to living there. A study in 2023 found that 65% of employers in Manila actively avoid hiring people from informal settlements.
65%. Why? Perceived unreliability.
So it's not just low wages, it's this societal barrier, this bias that severely limits job opportunities and the knock-on effect. About 30% of children drop out of school. They have to work.
Often scavenging landfills for recyclables, things they can sell.
Cutting short their education, their future prospects, it just perpetuates the cycle.
And this raises a really important, sobering question. What's the human cost? What does this mean for health, for longevity? Well, the health risks are just rampant, deeply tied to the living environment. Poor air quality, from industry nearby, the waste sites.
Yeah.
It means 60% of residents report chronic respiratory issues.
60%? That's huge.
And the statistics are grim. Between 2013 and 2017 alone, 981 deaths were directly linked to acute respiratory infections.
Nearly 1,000 deaths in just a few years.
These aren't just abstract numbers. They represent immense suffering, real loss in a community already battling so much.
To really understand Tondo now, we have to look back, don't we? We need to understand its history. These struggles, they aren't new. They actually trace back centuries. Its origins as Tundun, a pre-colonial settlement.
Mentioned in the Laguna copperplate inscription, right, back in the 10th century.
Exactly. So this place has deep, deep roots. By the 20th century, though, rapid urbanization, migration from rural areas, it transformed Tondo into an industrial hub.
But then World War II happened. Massive destruction.
Followed by decades of government neglect, especially during the Marcos era.
And that's when you see the dramatic expansion of the informal settlements.
To the point where today, it's something like 38% of Manila's entire population lives in Tondo.
And what's really revealing in that history is the pattern of failed policies. Or maybe failed implementation of policies. The community didn't just sit back. In the 1970s, you had the Zone 1 Tondo organization, ZOTO. They fought hard for land rights.
They even secured a Republic Act, right, back in '56.
They did, RA 1597. But its implementation just faltered. It didn't deliver. And later policies, like the 1992 Urban Development and Housing Act, UDHA, that was supposed to require alternative housing for evicted settlers.
Supposed to.
Exactly. It's been applied so inconsistently. The tragic result, around 20% of relocated families actually ended up in worse conditions than before.
Worse. That's heartbreaking.
It really shows how even well-intentioned laws can completely miss the mark without proper, consistent execution and oversight.
Okay, so looking at the present day, what are the clearest drivers behind Tondo's ongoing challenges? First, you've got just unchecked urbanization. Manila's population boom, 1.5 million in 1950 to, 13 million today?
Over 13 million now, yeah. It's just overwhelmed the infrastructure.
Think about this. Only 20% of Metro Manila's barangays, those local administrative units, have functional waste recovery facilities. Only 20%.
So where does the waste go?
Well, a huge chunk, about 15% of the city's 9,500 tons of daily waste, ends up clogging Tondo's canals and waterways.
Just adding to the environmental and health problem.
Exactly. Then there are the persistent policy failures you mentioned. Short election cycles often disrupt long-term planning. Initiatives like, remember former President Estrada's Lingat Parasa Mahirap back in '98?
Vaguely, yeah. What happened?
It just fizzled out, no continuity, couldn't make a lasting impact.
And the economic disparity is massive, too.
Huge. Tondo's close to commercial hubs, so there are jobs nearby.
But no affordable housing.
None. So residents get trapped in the informal settlements. It's the only option.
And underpinning all of this is the chronic underfunding of essential services.
Despite housing 37% of Manila's population, Tondo's districts only get about 30% of the city's budget allocated to them.
A clear mismatch.
It's a structural deficit. But, and this is where the story really shifts, despite these overwhelming odds.
This is where the hope comes in.
Exactly. The truly inspiring resilience of Tondo's residents. We see incredible agency, incredible spirit in these community-led projects. Take the Smoky Mountain Community Garden, launched in 2018 by an NGO called Project Pearls.
What did they do?
They transformed a 2-hectare wasteland, literally a garbage dump site, into this vibrant source of fresh vegetables for 500 families.
Wow, 500 families.
Yeah, cutting their food costs by 20%.
Yeah.
But it's more than just food, you know? It fosters community, provides recreation space.
It's fantastic.
And then there's the Tondo Women's Collective, a local cooperative. They train 300 women every year in practical skills, sewing, food processing.
Giving them ways to earn income.
Exactly, boosting incomes by about 15%.
Yeah.
And a survey just this year, 2024, showed 40% of the participants reported feeling a significant improvement in their social standing.
That directly counters the stigma we talked about. That's huge.
It really is. Imagine the ripple effect of that empowerment.
And a crucial insight here, connecting this, is the absolutely indispensable role that NGOs play. They fill these critical gaps where government resources are stretched thin or sometimes just completely absent.
They're providing direct, tangible support.
Often meaning the difference between, frankly, survival and despair for many families. Look at Habitat for Humanity. They build 5,000 homes a year across the Philippines.
That's impressive.
And 1,000 of those, since 2019, have been specifically in Tondo. And these aren't just basic shelters.
Yeah.
They're designed to withstand typhoons, which is absolutely critical in that region.
Climate resilience built in. Smart.
Very. Another great example is the Fiji Kid Project, run by Salon Lahi. They feed 100 children every day. and provide essential educational support.
Directly tackling malnutrition and dropout rates.
Exactly. They've helped reduce dropout rates by 10%. And you see the community support. A social media post about their work in 2024 got 15,000 likes.
Wow, that shows real appreciation.
It does. And then there's Bahay Tuluyan. They offer vital services, meals, and showers to about 200 street children every week, directly addressing the malnutrition that affects, sadly, about 25% of Tondo's youth.
Quarter of the kids.
These organizations, they're truly the backbone of so much positive change happening on the ground.
But even with these powerful community efforts, these essential NGOs, government involvement is still crucial, isn't it? Though, as we've seen, it's often fraught with challenges. There's the National Slum Upgrading Strategy, for instance, backed by a, $455,000 Cities Alliance grant back in 2011.
What was the goal there?
The aim was ambitious: relocate 10,000 families to better in-city housing by 2027.
Okay, 10,000 families. How's that going?
Well, the sobering reality is only 2,000 have actually been resettled so far.
Only 2,000 out of 10,000.
Oh.
Why such slow progress?
Largely due to ongoing land disputes, complex legal issues. It's slow going.
Bureaucracy.
Yeah. But on a more positive note, there are some government livelihood programs showing success, like the skills training run by TESTA, the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority.
What kind of impact are they having?
Well, they reached 1,500 residents in 2024 with training, and impressively, 60% of those found stable jobs afterwards.
60% is a good outcome. That's tangible change.
It is, but there's always a but, isn't there?
Seems like it.
Bureaucratic delays are still a major hurdle, and persistent corruption. A 2023 audit found that 25% of funds for some programs were misallocated.
A quarter of the funds, wow.
Yeah, that significantly hinders progress, obviously. It's this constant push and pull progress than roadblocks.
But what's really fascinating, I think, is how these smaller victories, even amidst the big systemic challenges, create real tangible change and, crucially, fuel hope on the ground. That Smoky Mountain Garden we mentioned,
Yeah.
it now yields 500 kilograms of produce every month, serving 1,200 people. And it generates about $1,000 a month in sales.
So it's becoming economically sustainable, too.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
Demonstrating genuine viability. And the Tondo Children's Library, rehabilitated by Salinlahai in 2022.
What about it?
It now serves 300 students daily, and they've measured a 15% boost in literacy rates among those kids.
15%. That's a profound impact on their future.
Absolutely. And these projects, they get amplified, right? Over 10,000 social media shares collectively. That really highlights Tondo's potential, the power of collective effort.
It shows what's possible.
And don't overlook the power of community organizing itself. Remember that 2024 protest?
For better sanitation?
Yes. Led by 200 residents, it gained 12,000 social media votes, putting direct pressure on local officials.
And did it work?
It did. They got 50 new toilets installed.
Okay.
Concrete, resident-driven results. That's real power.
You know, maybe the resilience of Tondo isn't best understood through just stats, but through, glimpses of daily life. Imagine walking through there yourself, starting at dawn in Happy Land. The air is thick, maybe the smell of decay, but you also see kids playing near the garbage piles.
Life goes on.
Yeah. You might meet someone like Maria, a scavenger, starting her day, earning maybe $2 sorting plastics, her hands moving incredibly fast, skilled. You walk through those narrow, winding alleys, see the shacks, tiny, maybe 10 square meters, housing families of 6, somehow making space for each other.
Incredible density.
Then you step into the Smoky Mountain Garden, a complete contrast.
Yeah.
You see residents like Juan, maybe, meticulously tending rows of eggplants. Their pride is just palpable in every green leaf, turning wasteland into nourishment.
A symbol of hope.
Definitely. Or visit a Bahay Tuluyan feeding center. Watch 50 kids eating hot meals, laughing. It's such a stark contrast to their surroundings.
A moment of normalcy, of care.
And then maybe you witness a small protest. 100 residents chanting, demanding better water access. It just underscores their resolve, their refusal to be ignored.
They keep fighting.
And you could end your day at a TESDA workshop, see women learning sewing skills, gaining something tangible, a ticket towards maybe a bit more stability. This kind of glimpse, it reveals that extraordinary human spirit that just thrives there against all odds.
And thinking about the bigger picture, the broader implications of Tondo's story are really immense. It raises that important question. Why should Tondo matter beyond its own borders?
Right. Why should someone listening in, say London or New York, care?
Well, if we connect Tondo to the global context, its challenges mirror those of informal settlements worldwide. We're talking about places that are currently home to 1 billion people, 1 billion,
And projected to grow.
projected to hit 3 billion people by 2050. So Tana's struggle isn't unique in kind, but the solutions emerging there, the community-driven ones, they could very well be a vital model for broader global change. It's a microcosm, offering potentially universal lessons.
So what does this all mean for us, for you listening? Tondo's community-driven model, like that Smoky Mountain Garden, it offers incredibly scalable solutions. Think about cities like Nairobi, where maybe 60% of the population lives in informal settlements. Imagine the impact if models like Tondo's Garden took root there.
The potential is huge.
And scaling up those successful NGO partnerships like Habitat for Humanity's work. According to UN estimates, approaches like that could potentially house 10 million people globally by 2030.
10 million.
And skills training, like the TESDA programs. If replicated effectively worldwide, initiatives like that could lift maybe 5 million people out of poverty, saving an estimated $2 billion in welfare costs globally.
So the lessons from Tondo, emphasizing community empowerment, localized solutions, persistent advocacy, they aren't just local.
Oh, they're truly universal and incredibly powerful, I think. So we've taken a deep dive today into Tondo, Manila. A place, yes, grappling with overwhelming overcrowding, scarce services, pervasive stigma, yet it absolutely shines with this inspiring resilience.
Absolutely.
From the Smoky Mountain Garden feeding hundreds to Habitat for Humanity building those typhoon-resistant homes, real progress is being made, driven by the people themselves and the NGOs supporting them.
But the challenges remain immense.
They do. With 50% of residents still earning below $4 a day, and only 2,000 of those 10,000 planned relocations actually completed, the urgent need for systemic, sustained change is undeniable.
It's clear that NGOs and community efforts, amplified by things like social media engagement, are really driving the hope we see. It proves that Tondo's future really lies in collective, empowered action. Which brings us to maybe a final provocative thought for you to consider. If community empowerment and these localized grassroots solutions can create such a profound difference in a place as incredibly challenging as Tondo, what does that tell us about the untapped potential within our own communities, wherever we are, or even across other global urban centers? How much more could actually be achieved if these kinds of grassroots efforts were universally supported, properly resourced, and scaled up?
That's a powerful question to leave people with, and we genuinely want to hear your thoughts on Tondo's transformation. What surprised you most listening today? What insights, maybe, will you carry forward? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, don't forget to tell us where you're listening from. We're building a global community here, and we love seeing where you all are. And remember, for more deep dives just like this one, make sure you visit Mind Expansion Daily. Hit that like button, subscribe, and it really does help us out. And if you feel inclined to buy us that coffee to keep us going, the link is right there in the description. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and stay well informed.